Hi there, you lovely lot, and welcome to the latest episode of Pat's Procrastination, brought to you by the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel. As always, please do not forget to be subscribing to said YouTube channel so that you do not miss an episode of the crazy chaos that is. Now, here we are, episode 71, folks, just coming off a win in Buffalo. As usual, I am Clazzy Clare, and he is Chudders. Chudders, how are things with you on this Victory Tuesday?
It's Victory Tuesday, and we won the whiteout, so that's why I'm wearing white. We won the whiteout, so that's something that we can claim now. Of course. Not only was it win, I think this was a marquee win. This is a marquee win. It can be a turning point, foundational. It can be something. This isn't just a normal win. I would say this is probably the best win we've had for 5 years, something like that. No, you disagree.
My memory isn't.
Here's me being the positive one, and you're just trying to shoot it down.
I disagree. It's that I don't recall enough information to be completely affirmative on that point. So, whilst I very much trust your instincts, I would agree with you. However, from my own, I can't remember because my memory sucks, as most people know by now. My memory's so bad.
So, what positives do you see in the game? Where do you want to start, Claire? I know you don't like my structured approach, so where do you want to start? What do you want to talk about?
No, I appreciate some structure and some discipline. It's fine. It's just the whole starting on the offense and going on the defense, and I kind of like the good, the bad sort of list a bit better because it mixes it up a little bit.
Who's on your good list then?
There's all sorts on my good list, and I don't want to steal the top ones because, well, we're all going to have the same top ones of Drake May and Stefan Diggs, aren't we? You know what I found interesting? The impact of Diggs was rather interesting, and I have a point to make on him as well in a moment. When I was quickly trying to get some notes this morning for the show, I was looking at the snaps that Hunter Henry had, percentage, obviously. And I noticed that whilst Diggs was very impactful, he only played 50% of the snaps, and I was quite surprised at that.
And yet he came away with by far the most production. I think, I mean, I was going to say it could be because of how he operates in the run game, but you don't want to get in a position where it becomes identifiable whether the Patriots are running it or not, whether he's in the game. But it was clearly a very emotional game for him. I don't know if you saw before the game even started, the interviews he'd done then and everything.
Yeah.
It was an emotional game for him, and he came out firing. But I've more to that later on, I think.
Can I make my wide receiver point before I forget it?
Please point at wide receivers.
Okay. There's always a lot of talk, and there was before the season, about that number one wide receiver and how they need that number one wide receiver. And then they did sign Diggs, and then it was, will he be a number one wide receiver and things like that. And whilst I'm not saying he is just yet or anything like that, or not saying it, the one point that it sort of dawned on me now, whilst it's probably dawned on other people quite before I get it, but because we were preparing for the show, loads of people say that they never needed a number one wide receiver under Brady. We don't need a number one. We don't need a diva wide receiver because of Brady and things like that, and because of how skilled Brady was in the offense. So there was a lot of talk, maybe just from fans. We don't need a diva number one wide receiver. Watching the ability of Stefan Diggs on the field and how he's a skilled veteran wide receiver, it felt to me that like it was the other way around now. Drake May is semi-rookie. He's still developing. He's good, but he's still got, he's not flawless. So he needs someone who can make up for that in a way, whereas Brady didn't. It was the opposite way round. Now they've got a young quarterback who needs some assistance, and they've got a wide receiver who is a veteran, who he's got good presence, good skill set, good experience. Whereas before they had a quarterback who was a veteran, who was good skill set, good experience. So they didn't need to worry that out there needed to be that. Perhaps, because I can see your face is all over the place with not agreeing with me. And I'm starting to wonder once again, probably for the 71st time, because we've done that many shows, why I even talk on these shows, why I don't just do the introduction and let you carry on talking, because you look at me as if I'm just talking crazy talk.
I think there's truth in what you say.
Oh, did you hear that, folks? I nearly swore then as well, but we tried to keep this family show. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like, it's just my other point was, before I forget that one as well, that's what most offenses are in this NFL at the moment. Nobody has really got Brady. They've got a good quarterback and a good number one. That's what makes that's what makes a good offense, or lifts a good offense, should we say, or makes the start. Whereas before, with Brady's a lightning in a bottle. He's a unicorn. It's completely encompassed something very, very different on the planet. That's why when he left, we all went to. But anyway, no one else has got Brady, so everybody else has to run by the normal recipe of that skill set and somebody out in the field to make the compensation for, like, the downfall, or the not the downfall, the negatives, or whatever you want to say. I'm floundering for words now. We should definitely do the shows earlier in the morning. I'm obviously firing on more cylinders, it would seem. But that's just my point. It was watching Diggs when he, cut round and things like that and made space. I didn't write down what the quarter was, but he got himself open when Dre was under duress, and he made a play, and it was a great play. And you need somebody who is of a high skill set and plenty of experience to be able to do that, to create that, to compensate for that. That was my very long-winded point. That's the whole show. Thanks ever so much. No, just kidding. But yeah, when I was watching it, it made me feel like, look, this is what everybody else kind of needs to have because they don't have Brady. And I know that Pats fans will say, oh, I don't want to be like everyone else. No, but we are, because Brady was one. He was that one thing, and that's it. We don't have him. Nobody else does anyway. So we're going to have to play the way everybody else does, in a way.
So I'll preface this with saying I'm going to go a long way around to agree with you. Okay. On the Brady element, his most productive season, and barring a freak helmet catch, what is arguably the best team ever in NFL history, the 07 Patriots, that was with a number one star receiver in Moss. That he had his most production there with Moss. Now, after that, I agree, they didn't really have many what you'd call true standout number one receivers. But the game had evolved then to sort of the game of paper cuts, and that they were their number one receiver was Edelman. It was a slot receiver game. They obviously also had Gronk as number one receivers. So they had massive targets. It wasn't a collection of number twos, as you would say maybe last year, for example, the Pats offense was. So that's just one point in sort of defending Brady, or not defending Brady, but talking of the Brady part of that conversation. I'd also say, because Brady was so good, he could elevate players.
Yes.
Of course. He could make Malcolm Mitchell, a rookie, be a star in a Super Bowl because out of nowhere, because he was that damn good. Players like LaFell, who weren't really that great, but Brady could get elite games out of them every now and then needed. Now, and that's just so a lot of the planning would have to be, how are we going to try and negate Brady because he's that damn good? Drake May isn't that yet. As much as I loved his performance this weekend, Drake May is not that yet. So, like you say, he needed that number one star receiver to help elevate Drake May's game, and also potentially to provide, and this is something I was going to get to, more options elsewhere on the field, because you have that number one star receiver. And so, as brilliant as it was with Diggs, and he is your standout receiver this season, he's got nearly twice as many receptions as, in fact, he has got more than twice as many receptions as the next receiver. And the same for yards, I think. Or he certainly got a lot more yards than the second best receiver. But now teams are going to plan for that. You're getting a top corner. He might even get double teamed. They're going to try and take that away, and they're going to say, right, Drake May, we saw you on Sunday Night Football. You blew it out. You and Diggs, what a hot combination. Right, can you do it with someone else? And so that's what Drake's going to have to do now.
Yeah,
almost
agreed.
Certainly.
None of that I disagree with. I think my point was what I probably was trying to make very badly was just seeing Diggs play and how he got May out.
He played better than I thought we were going to get out of him this season.
Yeah, and I think it just kind of gave me some of that. Yeah, this is what, because we haven't had it as well. We haven't been able to see it. It's like, oh crap, yeah, that's what it can do. That may have been a bit of a piece we've been missing with the rookie quarterbacks that we've had. This is like post Brady, so Mac Jones, Drake May type of thing. And sorry, I went back about that probably the wrong way, so apologies, listeners, if you've got really bored. But it was just, it sort of really hit me when I was watching him run that route and stuff. But the one point I just want to throw back at you now with the whole Diggs thing is, yeah, top receiver, he's going to draw the defense. Got a damn good tight end, to be fair. So this is, don't pull that face. Don't pull that face.
Do you want to do this now? We're going to talk about his drop in the end zone at the end of the first half.
No, we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah,
we're not going to talk about that. Hey, everybody, yeah. Why do you need to do it? Why can't you just celebrate?
The tight ends didn't have a great game.
No, but Hunter.
There are 3 receptions between them, didn't they?
Yeah, but that's because Diggs.
In fact, no, 2. Henry's a good tight end. He's not a great tight end. And I like Henry. I'm not trying to shoot down on him, but he isn't an elite tight end.
I never said the word elite.
Good option.
So don't. So you criticize me for saying the things that I don't say.
Okay.
At least criticize me for just saying the things that I do say. Well, you did that as well.
Let's try and round out the Diggs point. He played better than I thought we were going to get out of him. I feared we were going to get a washed up version of Diggs that he'd have maybe the odd. And I'll tell you what it was. It's not even so much just his production. It was his attitude, the interviews, particularly obviously this weekend. He did a lot with them going back to Buffalo. Yeah. He seems bought in on Drake May. He seems bought in on the Patriot way. I feared he was going to check out. And I appreciate winning can influence that as to whether you checked in or checked out. But
of course,
he genuinely seems on board with this. There's an attitude there that's setting a good example to the other receivers, not just his production on the field, his abilities, his skills, but it's an attitude that actually has surprised me how good that's been. I did fear that wouldn't go that way with him. So no, it is better. Now, that said, I'm still potentially going to be hunting for a number 1 receiver in the offseason next year.
Sure.
As good as Diggs is. And this is why, rewinding 8 months or whatever it was, when we're looking at the draft, and you were saying about how the league is, you have the quarterback and a top receiver, and they build that relationship, I don't know, Burrows and Chase, or whoever you want to go with. I wanted Travis Hunter back in the draft because I thought you could build him as a number 1 star-stud receiver. You can build a relationship there, him and May, and that could last a decade. And wow, isn't it amazing, wonderful? I know he's not lit it up with Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, so maybe that never would have worked. But that was my thinking behind it. I didn't think we'd get it with Diggs, and on the basis of that one game. But to be fair, most of the season, there seems to be a chemistry, there seems to be a connection there. It is actually working. So what else is on the positive list for you then, Claire?
The booty sideline catch.
Yes.
Maybe in a bit of pop too.
Yeah, and like I said, I think we're going to have to look to them more, because my assumption is people are really going to try and stop that chemistry and relationship with Diggs. So we're going to need them to step up.
I want to shout out then is, I think Booty deserves like a badge. That sounds really stupid, but this guy, when it was the off season, not this off season, the previous one, he was, everybody was kind of, a lot of people were counting him out. He wasn't performing and they didn't utilize him or whatever. And I think this is definitely a story of he worked really hard to be the guy, or a guy, maybe I should say a guy, not the guy. And I just feel like I don't know, it makes me feel like the underdog situation. I feel like he deserves some extra props because he's doing really well. As in, I know he's not super duper top number one wide receiver, but he keeps showing up on the good list type thing. It keeps being a name of, oh, and Booty did this, and now it might not be as much as like Diggs was sort of, you kind of almost pin the whole success of the game on him, but he is a guy, and I like that, and I feel sort of ready to champion that, if you see what I mean. So
excellent,
yeah,
good,
yeah. Go on, what's yours then?
Well, I would just, obviously Drake May had a great game. That's probably the best performance we've seen from him, I think.
Do you want to asterisk it with second half? Sorry to interrupt you. Would you asterisk it with the second half rather than the whole game?
You could. I didn't think he had a bad first half.
Okay, that's fair.
Would be my opinion. It's also an interesting thing where, who do you think was the better quarterback on the day, Drake May or Josh Allen? You come away from it thinking Drake May. You start, they've just won the game. But actually, you look at the numbers, and Josh Allen had a better day than Drake May. But because you're trying to see that ascension, the team that came out with the win, he was clutch at the end, which doesn't show up in the numbers.
Yeah, I think
you don't think of that, but it's like, okay, we're getting to see Drake May use his legs. He could, 3 runs for 12 yards. Okay, well, Josh Allen was 953. Oh yeah, well, Drake May was 22 completions for 270 yards. Well, Josh Allen was 22 as well for 253. So there's not a lot between them. And he threw 2 touchdowns. And I'm not trying to talk it down. I love May. That's more a comment on the Discord of elevating May above Josh Allen. It's like, well, now hang on. Josh Allen didn't have, he wasn't his star self winning a game like he has been. I'm not saying he had a bad game either, but he'll come away from it thinking, oh, I wish I'd done better. We could have won that game, is the way they'll be thinking about it. But realistically, right, and this kind of goes to what I said the other week, this needs to become Drake May. This is his standard now, because that was maybe a standard game for Josh Allen, and they lost. Whereas we're saying this is the best game for Drake May. This is going to need to become the standard. And hopefully it's there. And I liked the fact, and I wondered that there seemed to be a big emphasis on how this was the first primetime game for him. And that really drew it out of him. And that's good to see, because obviously you hope you win. You're going to have more primetime games the more these things come out. But then it's also...
No, I don't want primetime games because I like sleep. I like yeah, sorry, yeah, from a selfish perspective, of course, but I need this needs as much sleep as possible. To have to do this needs sleep. Gosh darn it. No prime time.
But it's also okay, now that's got it out of you, and obviously it was a big game for Diggs, like I said, and it brought it out in him as well. Brilliant that it brought it out in you. But now you've got the opposite. Now it brought it out of you because it was a primetime game away at your rival who are having a whiteout game. It was your former team for one of you. Oh yeah, this brought it out. Now you've got to go away game to one of the worst teams in the league, who, to be fair, just got a victory. Now you've got to go and do that again. You've got to pull it out. You haven't got all the lights. You haven't got a former team, but you've got to have that same energy, that same application, that same attitude. Go and do it again when it's almost harder to bring it out now. All those wonderful things that you said to draw it out of them before this game, you can't say them this time, but you've got to draw it out of them again. And we'll get onto it. But that's why I think this week, in some ways, mentally, I think is a tougher test for the Pats than last week was. But I don't want to get ahead too much. So what else was good? Just in general, I want to give sort of props to Josh McDaniels and his offense. It just feels so much better, so much more coordinated, so much more. They're setting up plays early on to then call back to it later in the games. It just feels like so much of a better operation of offense than we've seen for a few years. And it's just really pleasing to see, I thought. Agreed. Anything else on your positive list?
I got Marcus Jones, maybe.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I wanted to shout out Gonzo.
Was on my bad and good list. Yeah, that was. There's like an arrow that he's on both lists because he played well, but then he had that ridiculous penalty. And I even did a little tab because this is the other thing that I love about late night games is I get the game book to watch the game. It's fantastic. It was a WTF is he doing? If Rabes is going to rip him a new a-hole, I reckon. Did you see Rabel's face when the camera went to him? Oh, I love watching our coach. It's amazing. I've got to admit, it's great when we win, of course. I love all this. And it's great that we're on our upward trajectory and 10% each game and all this, jam. But I do just love our coach. I love that we've got our coach. I really do. Sorry.
No, I agree.
Apologies.
I agree. I'd add in, I thought Gonzo had another good game, particularly, again, we talk about Drake May being clutch on offense. Gonzo was clutch at the end when we need it as well on defense. And that's what you hope and what you want from your star players. He's my underrated player of the day because I think you could easily give it to Diggs or May, but I'm going to give it to Gonzo for underrated because I thought he proved at the end there why it's so good to have him back in the team. And getting the turnovers as well. That first half particularly, I mean, you didn't end up doing a hell of a lot with them, sadly, as much as you'd like, but winning that turnover battle was key in the end. Actually, the other good, right, have you got any more goods before maybe I steal the last good?
No, I've run out now.
So talking of clutch, we had clutch offense, clutch defense. You got to say clutch special teams, Borregales nailing the 52-yard field goal at the end there for the win as well. Props to him. So that's like you getting the game ball the other week, and I was a little cautious with it because he'd missed a couple of kicks in the game, I think, as well. But I said this, okay, you've got to give him that confidence, and he's got to go out and build on it now and use it, and he did. So I'm giving the props.
And Barringer had some. Barringer still, mostly.
Yeah.
He's one of my faves anyway. So
negatives then. What negatives have you got? You've already mentioned Josh Farmer.
They're still not They're still not settled at covering tight ends. They're better, but they still needs work.
Agree.
Needs work. And I've got the Gibson injury on my bad. Not that it was his fault or anything. Don't get me wrong like that. It's not bad because he's bad. It's bad as in this is bad.
So I've put running backs. I've put running backs because Stevenson fumble again.
Yeah.
Which at the time, at the end of that first half, you thought Stevenson's fumbling again. Gibson's out injured. We've failed in the red zone, and I'll get to that again in a minute. But you felt like we're not going to win this, and we're going to rue our mistakes. Stevenson's fumble again. Gibson's injury. Henderson not fully trusted yet because of his pass protection. Are we going to need to look at the trade market potentially for a running back here now? Because obviously Gibson's out for the season. Douglas and some jet sweeps. That's it. I'm expecting maybe some jet sweeps or something that McDaniels will kick up. Josh Daniels will kick up. Something like that. Try and use the running game in different ways, using different players. If it's slightly restricted this weekend, we shall see.
Who are you trading me for then? Are you trying to get Derrick Henry? Is that who you're trading me for?
Is that a fair trade? Is it? I don't know what the answer is, but you feel like they're going to need to do. They're going to need to replace him somewhere, and I'm not sure what they've got on the practice squad is going to be good enough. Excuse me.
Considering it came that he was out, that's it. It's kind of that his season is done. You've got a different situation if you're looking at like an IR 4-week thing. Then it's do we take that step? Do we try and throw a lot of money and get somebody in, or do we sort of bide our time and see what we can do, kind of wearing out the wide receivers, the running backs? Apologies, but yeah, that was a big blow. That's why it's on my bad list. That was a really big blow. But interesting how Vrabel deals with it now. What does he do? How does he compensate? Because he is being a really supportive coach and keeping Stevenson in, saying we need him because they do. They need his skill set. He's a really good running back as long as he can hold on to the ball. They need to put some sticky tape on his arm or something so when he touches the ball, he can really keep on. I'm sure that's illegal.
It is, but players used to do that with their gloves. That's some history you can look into.
Get him some stickier gloves.
He does need to work on it, but you'd think we've been thinking that now for 2-3 years, and he still hasn't. So I don't know quite how you can resolve that. Go on.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I think you might have answered it. I wanted to ask you the question of, because it is a bit of a hot topic, what do you think it is? As a long-time fan of the game as you've been, do you believe it's a psychological thing, or is this a coaching thing?
Kind of. Well, I think it's just inherent in him. I think it's the way he's always run, and it got him through fine at high school and college, and it's just the way he runs. And now at NFL, people are attacking the ball more, with more force, with more weight, with more power.
When he's not even getting the punch out. That was one thing in this game that was highlighted.
But it's a lack of security of the ball. You're not holding it tight enough. You're not holding it closer to your chest. You'd like to think it could be coached out of him, and you'd say to him almost, just hold the ball with two hands if needs be, like wrap it like a baby into your chest or whatever, and get 3 less yards. Maybe, instead of a 7-yard run, it's a 4-yard run, but at least we came away with the ball, and kind of almost baby steps of, right, you need to change your fundamentals now. But it's obviously easier said than done, because it's something that he's done it for, I don't know, 15 years now, something, however long he's been playing exactly, I don't know, since a peewee. But you'd like to think he could be coached out of him, but I'm sure everyone's been trying for a long time now, and it's not quite worked.
Something interesting.
You just know opposing defenses now are going to be attacking the ball. You see it now sometimes that players aren't even trying to tackle; they're just trying to get the ball out. And you'd think that, right? Okay, Stevenson's got the ball. Rather than trying to tackle him, I reckon we get the ball here. That'll be their point of attack.
That should be the way it's played, anyways. They attack the ball, not the individual.
Not necessarily.
It's supposed to be. But anyway, so yes, on the bad list, running back.
I've also got.
Have anything else?
Yeah, I've also got the O-line. Gave up 4 sacks, 6 tackle for loss, 8 quarterback hits. Not a good day for them. And some penalties.
I got pass protection not doing as well, more so. But
Drake May did brilliantly, moving out the pocket, moving to his right, and like he dealt with it. He covered up almost for some of their poor play as well through his good play. But there's still a lot to be proven, I think, on the O-line, sadly. It's not yet the final fixed article that we all hoped it would be coming to this season. Anything else you've got?
Rookies on, to be fair. It's going to take some time. I'm sure I heard on the broadcast, and I can't remember the amount of time that they said, that it's been since an O-line contained 2 rookies. Or a starting O-line contained 2 rookies. It's not a common thing. And I think this is but then we go back to our age-old conversation that we've had lots of times on the 71 episodes that we've done, is like, you need to draft well. This is where not drafting good players comes, and maintaining that is an issue. But anyway,
I think he's coaching them as well, because we're obviously the past, I don't know what it is, 5, 6, 7, 8 drafts, the stats on them is pretty damn bad. And if you want to say that Henderson's not getting any touches now as your 2nd round pick, and Williams, your receiver, as your 3rd round pick, aren't getting much action either, you could start to question last year's draft, sadly. I'm hoping not. Obviously, we're a little happier with our offensive, our starting left tackle, who his short arms don't seem to be necessarily the big problem there. But yes, it's drafting them, but it's being able to develop them. And I think it's a lot of the developing that has not almost equally to blame for the deficiencies in the draft. Because other teams pick up players who have come out of nowhere and then become, star, if you like, or serviceable players,
like
and they pay them.
And Ted Harris.
Coach them up. Anyway. Any other negatives you got?
No, I'm good.
I did have tight end defense as well. Like you brought that up earlier. And penalties on defense cost you, or could have cost you. I guess they didn't in the end. But yeah,
I mentioned about the tight end defense last for this one because they played the Panthers, who didn't have great tight ends. And going into this game, I said Buffalo have got two really good tight ends: Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox. Very good tight endage. So yeah.
I also kind of, it's in my game notes rather than necessarily negative. I did not like the clock management at the end of the first half when Vrabel seemed to get cute and he burnt off. It was about 8 seconds, something like that, before he took a timeout. And it was obvious he was trying to make sure 100% that Pats had the last possession. Because at that time, it was about 28 seconds on the clock or something like that. And he ran it down to 18 or 26 and he ran it down to 18. And he just wanted to make sure there was zero chance that Buffalo could do anything in giving them any time. But ultimately, it cost the Patriots because they were obviously in goal to go. But then there was a penalty, so they got another 3 set downs, but they didn't have enough time to use them all. And you end up kicking a field goal.
Instead
they might not have got in for a touchdown anyway. I'm not saying it doesn't guarantee you, but you took away opportunities. And I think you just tried to get too cute there. Worst case scenario, you score on that next drive. I suppose worst case scenario is you turn the ball over. But worst case scenario, you turn the ball over on the 9-yard line, unless they've run it back, and you've given Josh Allen 23 seconds. Potentially he could score. Probabilities, that's highly unlikely. But sadly, it ended up costing you. And certainly at that time, at halftime, you went in leading. But there was just I had that feeling of, hang on, we're not taking enough advantage here of the Bills not firing today. And I feared it was going to cost us. Obviously, brilliantly, it didn't in the end. But that was on my sort of negative. A positive in my game notes, that was apparently the Bills' last primetime game in their stadium. And we sent them down with a loss, so I quite like that. And as much of a fanfare as they made of their whiteout and all that, and like I say, we took it off them and we spoilt their evening. I quite like that.
Wait, that's almost like in support. I have war opposite.
So you've kind of answered this by not answering it. I did make a note of, is Claire going to mention the refs? And strangely enough, Claire did not mention the refs this week.
Okay.
You thought they had a good game?
I'm assuming. Refs? I don't tend to watch the refs much.
Oh, I think we could go back. So I think we could go back to what shows where you go, the Pats only lost today because of the refs. If the officiating had been better, the Pats would have won. And I must say, I'm not saying the Pats were lucky, but
take what I say and then
they had quite a few penalties that the refs certainly played a part in that game, but I think they do every week. So it doesn't bother me. It was more of, I was interested to see whether Claire would mention it or not. And she didn't, so obviously.
He wants to highlight some issue with me. That's interesting, isn't it? Oh, that's interesting.
I would say you're looking on course to win a sandwich with number of wins at the moment. That was a bonus win, I think, this weekend that we weren't necessarily expecting.
Second in the division, you owe me a sandwich.
That wasn't a sandwich bet we made. That was one you threw out. I never accepted it.
You're regaining.
I thought we were going to get second in the division. You threw that out so early, and I was like, yeah, no, I kind of agree with you. I expected the Dolphins to be on the down, and I expected the Jets to be on the up.
How's this going to work? We're just going to buy each other that sandwich?
Yeah, maybe. Well, I didn't think that was... Maybe I took it for the fun of it, but it isn't a surprise to me, sadly, where we are. which is a good thing.
So the other predictions were
go on then.
Overall under 8 wins.
Yeah.
I was over 10 and
I took under.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you were. Did we take 10? 9. Did we take 10? I took 9. Thank goodness.
See, over or under 8 wins was the question, because that's what the betting odds were at the time. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I take the over and reckon about 10. You took the kind of on the line because you still thought of 8/9 would be. So
yeah. So we need to get 10 for you to be right. But to be fair, this was if you like, a bonus win. I didn't expect us to have. It's not impossible. If we play like we did at the weekend for the rest of the season, we'd be a playoff team. But anyway, we need to see that consistency. So looking ahead.
On to the Saints. Yeah, we need to wrap this up.
Saints, 1 o'clock game away. They're coming off a victory. Their first victory of the season.
Yeah.
What's your prediction, Claire?
A Patriots win. 37-20, Pats.
Ooh, I hope you're right. And off how if you guess want to say season or you want to say the last weekend, if the Pats play like they did last weekend, they can go and get 37 points. And if the Saints play as poorly as they have for most of the season, then you could restrict them down to maybe even less than that. Well, I've gone a Pats win, and I've gone 24-17 because I think it might be a bit closer. We'd love to see a repeat performance, and the Pats now go and blow someone out. My fear is there's going to be a tiny bit of complacency of like, oh, brilliant guys, we're here now. Whereas you have to really switch on. And like I said, I do think this is going to be possibly a bigger mental test. I think last weekend was a bigger skill test, physical test against the Bills, who are a better team than the Saints. This is a bigger mental test because now you've got to go prove that you didn't just get up for a big game and play well. No, that's the level you're going to play at every single week. You have to go out and do it again. Don't just scrape a win or lose or worse. Go out and dominate. Show that you are miles better than the opposition now, because this opposition should be a lot worse than you. Go out and prove it. And I really hope they do.
Yes, domination needs to be the name of the game. There you have it, folks.
So I know you want to wrap. Just the last thing before you wrap, I want to say go Bruins as the NHL season starts now.
Okay.
And congratulations on Chara getting his number retired. Excellent. You can wrap.
So there you have it, folks. Thank you very much, sir. So that is it for another episode of Pat's Procrastination, the chaos that is courtesy of the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel. Please do not forget to be subscribing, as I have said, and tune in next time, folks. As always, go Pats.
LFG.